It's time to get ready for the Energy Tech Challengers Superfinals. Our honorable members of the jury have voted, and we are ready for the final top 7 pitches. So please welcome our remarkable members of the jury who will help us choose the ultimate winner of Energy Tech Challengers 2025. I believe that you all have lots of questions prepared for the finalists, so let me remind you of the rules of the live pitches. Each company will have 3 minutes for a pitch and 2 additional minutes for the questions and answers from our jury members. So when evaluating the presentations, jury members will consider 7 criteria. The first one is the problem. The second is the product and the service. The third is the go-to-market strategy. The fourth is the progress traction. The fifth is the team. And the sixth is the potential of future financing. I wish the best of luck to all of our contestants. So we're going to begin, and we're going to start off with the winner of the Green Infrastructure track, Chris Bernkopf, co-founder and CEO at Podero. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm Chris Bernkopf, CEO and founder of Podero, and today I'll talk to you about unlocking new revenue streams for utilities. So what does that mean? Now, we're Podero. We're a company that does 2 things. We steer devices and we enable utilities to trade in electricity markets. And as you can see, we do that for a number of utilities in Europe, some of the big ones like E.ON and Total, and of course, many of the medium-sized ones. Now, we recently launched with E.ON Sweden, as you can see here. This is their smart heating app, and our service is integrated into their app. So essentially, a user can connect their device here, then see their data, and activate smart steering. And once they activate it, they automatically start saving money. Now, why do utilities work with us? Why do they need us, and why do we focus on them? So utilities, of course, have the ability to trade, and of course, have many thousands, hundreds of thousands of customers. But of course, their product is quite challenging because it's electricity, it's a commodity. So they have high customer acquisition costs. They have difficulties in retaining customers. Of course, they have to manage all that volatility in the market, and they have to transform from traditional energy company to a tech player. And of course, they also face new competition in the market. So how do we solve that? We have 2 products, one called Podero Instant and one called Podero Advanced. So Podero Instant is a solution where you can try out the service right away. So you can connect your device as an end user, then you log in, then we start monitoring the device, and then we steer that according to the power markets. Now that's nice for the end user, but the utility doesn't really make money here. So they need Podero Advanced, which is our trading piece. So there you connect our virtual battery to your virtual power plant, and then essentially you can start making money with your device fleet. And you can send, hopefully, most of those on to the end users. Now here you can take a look at Podero Instant. This is a white label app. You can see the consumption of your PV of your household. You can see the grid consumption, the PV reduction, and the battery, and of course all the different devices in the household. And we control your device then according to the spot market and according to HIMS, so according to your own solar power production. Podero Advanced is a solution where we trade, as I mentioned, and so there we do optimized purchasing. This could be on the day-ahead market or in the intraday market, or of course balancing energy, AFR. Now, our product essentially does 2 things. We steer and we trade. As you can see here, this is Podero Instant, where you basically steer according to HEMS and day ahead, which is of course nice for the customer, but the utility really makes the money here with day ahead trading, intraday trading, and balancing energy. There are a lot of benefits to Podero, but I spare that. I'm very happy to answer your questions, and thank you for listening.
Job. Any questions? Great.
Thank you for the excellent presentation, first of all. I'm interested in traction. Anything you can tell me and us, I guess, about traction?
Yes, we work with over a dozen utilities across Europe in 6 countries right now. So Austria, Germany, Sweden, Belgium, Italy, and soon Netherlands. And we work with many thousands of devices. We have 52 different manufacturers integrated right now, and we're active with 5 optimization methods.
Impressive, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Daan Hendricks from Eneco Ventures. So I work at a utility, so one of your clients, essentially. So definitely see the problem that you try to solve. How do you assess the risk of your clients using you on the short term and eventually building the service that you provide themselves in the long run? And how do you defend for that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, there are some companies in the market which will definitely build the solution in-house. Now, will 90% do that? Probably not. Most of the companies also use a virtual power plant from a provider. They use, trading software from a provider. They have certain app components that they buy from other companies. So I guess at the moment we don't see this risk. But of course, long term we need to align our interests with the utility. So we make money when the utility makes money. So when they have lots of devices, lots of customers, lots of trading. And I guess not every bank builds their own payment system. They use Visa, and in the same way, hopefully, they use Podero in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Please give a round of applause for the winner in the Green Molecules track, Andrew Symes, CEO of OXCCU.
Hello, hi. My name's Andrew Symes. Pleasure to be here, and I'm going to tell you about OXCCU and sustainable aviation fuel. So, this is us on a single slide. We've raised 20 million to date. We're an IP-focused company. We've got 22 people, and we're focused on scaling our technology. This is the problem. This is a big problem as well. Currently, we make 0.1 billion litres of sustainable aviation fuel. We need to make 450 billion litres by 2050. People are not stopping flying. People want to fly more and more and more, and people want to give the benefits of flying to future generations. This is not something we can run away from. Aviation needs a solution, and it needs it now. And for that, it's sustainable aviation fuel. Currently, we make all of our sustainable aviation fuel from that tiny blue wedge, which is vegetable oil. That is not enough. Everyone agrees on that. So we need to use waste biomass, and the big growth can all come from using CO2 as the feedstock. There's now real mandates in law, both in the UK and the EU, to incentivize sustainable aviation fuel. So this market is real and it's happening, and there's big money going in. But there is a challenge. The challenge is cost. We need to get the cost down of sustainable aviation fuel. There's two main reasons for the cost. One is high capital cost, because you've got multiple steps on the process. You've got to turn one thing into one thing and then another thing into another thing all the way along. Lots of different units, high capital cost. The second is often the one people focus on most, is the high operating cost. A lot of energy to make the hydrogen. But it's not just around the electricity to make the hydrogen. It's also around how you use the hydrogen. You want to be hydrogen efficient. You want all your hydrogen to go into the fuel that you want to make. You don't want your hydrogen going into water via combustion or going into byproducts. This is where our solution comes in. We have a one-step process that eliminates the reverse water gas shift reaction. The other conventional process first converts carbon dioxide to carbon monoxide, and then the carbon monoxide and hydrogen is fed into the Fischer-Tropsch catalyst. What we have is a Fischer-Tropsch catalyst that can handle CO2. It is not true that all Fischer-Tropsch catalysts can't handle CO2. We have an iron-based catalyst. It's based on over 10 years of work in Oxford University that proves that CO2 and hydrogen can react on a Fischer-Tropsch catalyst to form long-chain hydrocarbons in the jet fuel range and water. This is our journey to success. As I said, the research goes back a very long way, but it was really in 2021 that we got going. We raised 18 million in 2023, and with that, we built our first demonstration plant. We're now raising our Series B, and with that, we'll build a bigger one that will replicate the commercial plant and essentially de-risk our technology, enabling us to get a commercial plant by the end of this decade. This was our Series A round, and we're now raising our Series B. You can see we've got the interest from the whole industry behind us. We've got airlines, oil companies, as well as many others. This was our demonstration plant. We built it in 15 months on time and on budget. And this is our plan for the future, a commercial plant by 2030. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Great. Questions for...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's good. For Andrew.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. What is your cost of production of this sustainable fuel per unit, I don't know, compared to indirect flow?
So, I mean, we market ourselves as roughly a 50% reduction in capital cost, and we also have an OPEX benefit as well that can lead to roughly 25% lower fuel cost. In terms of the absolute cost, it always depends on your input costs and ultimately how big the plant is. But currently, e-fuels or particulate fuels could be anywhere from 5 to 10 times more expensive than fossil fuels. We want to get it down to 2-3 times more expensive than fossil fuels. That's where biofuels trade today, and that's where there's a market that's actually sustainable and scalable.
Thank you.
We got one question in the front, just here.
Thank you for the pitch. Do you have at the moment any letter of intent or commercial sort of promises in terms of how you're going to be able to offer this in the market?
So we're a technology provider, and we're actually talking to a number of different project developers who want to take our technology into their projects. So we are in some ways one step removed from that, but we are still actively engaged with a number of different airlines around offtake agreements, and we've got good engagement. But it will be the project level that will look to take the offtake, and we'll be providing the technology to the projects. We'll be participating in those projects most likely, but we won't be the sole project developer.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right. Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on, it's my pleasure to introduce the Scaling Computing Track winner, Mart Duitemeijer, Managing Director, Europe at VEIR.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you a story on how VEIR came to build 2 solutions that unlock the sustainable growth of high-density data centers. AI is hitting its limits, not on chips, but on electricity. Data centers are now constrained by the amount of power that they can access, and tomorrow's AI workloads will break the grid as we know it. This is where VEIR finds its origin. Our founders from MIT, Breakthrough Energy Ventures, Los Alamos National Lab brought our team together to fix one of the energy transition's most critical challenges, unlocking grid capacity. To do so, they built our first product, a superconducting transmission line, moving 5 to 10 times the capacity of a regular conductor at 0 losses in the same physical footprint. To scale this product, we raised our Series A2, and we secured $60 million to build the world's first superconducting transmission line connected to the grid. Now, one of our early use cases was a hyperscaler looking to unlock more grid capacity. But in those conversations, we learned something new. Inside the data center, the size of conventional cables and bus bars are becoming a limiting factor in the design. And with server racks exceeding 100 kilowatts, copper-based infrastructure is simply maxing out. So they asked us, can you also shrink the size of infrastructure inside the data center? Turns out we can. We executed a customer-paid technology demonstration, we powered a server rack, and we showed that our superconducting cables can reduce the size of power infrastructure over 10 times. Now, not only does this reduce construction costs, it also allows you to bring your data servers closer together, which reduces latency, which is key for training AI models. And because our cables are actively cooled and lossless, we reduce the need for cooling and we improve energy efficiency. Off the back of this breakthrough, we raised our oversubscribed Series B, which was joined by leading investors from both utility as well as the data center industry. My name is Mart. I just opened up our European office, and we are looking for early adopters. Hyperscalers, data center operators, utilities, equipment manufacturers. If you are looking to gain an edge on your competitors, be first to market with our technology, I would love to speak with you. Thank you.
Great job, Mart. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. And congrats on the Series B, of course. I was wondering, what is your go-to-market strategy and how will you become the backbone of Europe, essentially?
So good question. So one go-to-market, maybe we act like an OEM. With our Series B, we've set up our own manufacturing, so we do full product sales. But about the grid, we will never be 100% of the grid. We're too expensive. But in 5 to 10%, where we know that a delay of your permitting can take 5 to 10 years because you cannot expand your right-of-way, those are the cases where we can immediately build a new grid and increase the capacity times 5. So in those niche cases, we believe we are, at this point, the only solution for expanding capacity.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
We have time for another question.
Thank you for the presentation. I'm from EDP Ventures. I'm curious about your traction in Europe. Do you already have some contact or contract with utilities? Also in the US?
So also in the US. So in the US, like I said, we're building our pilot. We're now building a test bed for an integrated test for a data center product. We're early in Europe. Like I've been here 2 months. We're working with some of the TSOs across Europe. We've gone into the process of use case assessment, also with EDP, so it's funny you ask, working closely with your colleagues. So yes, we have built some traction, but we're early. The sales cycle of utilities, as you all know, is very long, and this is also one of the reasons for us to accelerate the development of our data center product, so we can get in revenue while we enter the utility market.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mart.
Cheers.
And now I would like to welcome Eneryield, the winning company of the AI applications track. So please give it up for Ebrahim Balouji, CEO and co-founder at Eneryield, who will be pitching next.
Hello, my name is Ebrahim Balouji, CEO, co-founder of Eneryield from Sweden. What we do is we offer prediction of the faults and failures in power system using explainable AI. A bit about company is that we founded in 2018, but the product is based on 13 years of research in Chalmers University of Technology in Sweden. And we were honored by rewards like SCAPA reward, which is second honorable reward in Sweden after Nobel Prize. Our company is heavily teamed up with 5 PhD and 5 more business developer and also the tech team. But I would like to start with the question that what is the worst nightmare in any utility? Can we say anything else than outage? The reason to that is that, for example, in US, the annual cost for outages is more than $150 billion. Globally, this number is more than $300 billion. To avoid that, we need to renew the infrastructure, and utility needs more than $3 to $4 trillion by the year 2030. And smart grid market is growing by more than $50 billion, and we need to modernize the grid, which is like substation-based. It costs around 100,000 K per substation. At Eneryield, what we do is we predict the failures and faults, we localize them where they're happening, we pinpoint the root cause of them, why they're happening, using explainable AI. And based on the projects that we have done globally, we do this with 97% accuracy. The outcome of this can be summarized here. Based on the actual projects, we can reduce the operation and maintenance cost up to 20%. We can reduce the number of outages in substation by 70%, and we also save energy consumption per substation in average 40 megawatt. We can extend the lifetime of the components like transformer, which is very critical, by more than 35 years. And that entails, in terms of also revenue, sale revenue for each utility, we can save in the distribution utilities around 100K per year. and for the transmissions, around $1 million per year. Thank you for your attention. We actively growing, looking for pilots and smart investors globally.
Great job. 2 minutes for questions.
Ebrahim, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm very interested in the current, let's say, number of deployments or geographic areas where you have deployments and clients in place, so traction.
Yeah, we deployed the solution in the United States. New York Power Authority is one of the great examples of transmissions. We have deployed it in Sweden, North Europe, Norway, and South Europe, Spain, about to. In Middle East, Dubai, airports, and Saudi Electric Company. So more than around like 200 deployments we have done so far.
How does this translate into revenue dimensions, roughly?
We usually sell perpetual license, and also it can be support and maintenance. That depends on the utility choice. It can be a subscription-based too, the pure from the beginning. Since we don't add any additional hardware, basically there's no hardware sale for us. But return of investment for the utilities is usually less than a year when they deploy in a substations. So it's quite a fast return, basically.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, Ebrahim. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, I would like to invite on stage the winner of Climate Finance and Risk Track, Sophie Bruusgaard Jewett, CEO at Morescope.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Morescope is a tech company out of Norway. We are building software solutions for companies to actually enable them to transform the way that they work on decarbonization, and most importantly, to speed it up. So, as many of you know, the booming days of sustainability reporting are pretty much dead, or at least on pause for now. And this is a really, really great thing for corporate decarbonization, because it frees up time and resources to actually focus on climate action and, importantly, building that business value. Because even before the reporting requirements, companies were overwhelmed by requests about their carbon footprint and about the carbon footprint of their products and how they were planning to manage that over time. And so I've worked my entire career in corporate decarbonization, and the way that I was working with this was actually pretty terrible. It was very time-consuming. It required huge amounts of data. It required business expertise in every part of the business I was working with, and it required some pretty serious Excel skills to do the modeling and the forecasting that you need to do to make credible decarbonization plans. And so for the longest time, I asked myself, why is something so urgent and so business critical still so out of reach? And that's where Morescope comes in. So we are currently in the middle of a software revolution due to the developments of AI. And we're really leveraging this revolution that's happening to provide customers with something that just wasn't previously possible. And that is providing them with really automated, hyper-contextualized suggestions for climate actions at their fingertips. And so our decarbonization platform, we have a proprietary data model that tracks your emissions across your entire value chain. And then we can actually provide you with tailored suggestions to how you should decarbonize your business based on your emission profile. And we can also quantify the impact of different climate tech solutions so that tech providers like the ones we've seen here today can actually find customers and find investors. And so we're attacking the climate problem from two different directions, both reducing emissions and scaling solutions. We had an incredible year last year. We increased our revenues by 500%. And we've really created this solid traction in Norway specifically, but we've also started adding customers in the rest of the Nordics. And the plan is to take this out into the rest of Europe. And we're doing this with a classic SaaS model, business model. The team is mostly technical. I'm kind of the exception as a climate expert, although there's lots of climate passion in the team. But mostly we have software developers, data scientists, and more AI engineers. Now we're looking for investors for our round next year, mission aligned, hopefully. So yeah, reach out if you're interested.
Great job, Sophie. Let's open the floor for questions.
This happened last time too. I'm way too thorough in my pitch.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. I love your passion, by the way. A bit unusual question, but what are you most proud about when you take a look at the journey so far?
Wow, I'm almost like, no. I'm not going to get emotional because I am really proud. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud about is that, I was struggling with this problem. In my previous job, I was the head of climate change at PwC, and I worked my butt off to try to get a tool like this in-house. I wanted this to be the way that we work on decarbonization and actually empowering, companies to own this work themselves rather than outsourcing it to consultants. And I think we're on our way there, and we've built something that actually works and that companies love. And that's what I'm most proud about.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Great. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you.
And now it's time to welcome the winner of Carbon Tech Track, Mads Emil Dalsgaard, CEO of Klimate Apps. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I have to start by disappointing you a bit. We don't make apps. We are this APS is the LTD of Denmark, so that's not our name. Hi, my name is Mads Dalsgaard. I'm one of the 3 founders of Klimate. I'm a serial entrepreneur, started several businesses before, and I started this company together with Katja, who's a management consulting, former management consultant, and Simon, who has a PhD in climate science. We work in the carbon removal space, and I just want to sort of like get that sort of status that actually we are in a state right now where the vast majority of large corporates have already committed that they need to use carbon removal. Some are already doing it, but more and more are getting on board. Why they need to use carbon removal is because they say they're going to be net zero, carbon neutral, net negative, positive, whatever word they're using. There is no net zero without carbon removal. That's where the net comes from. There are lots of ways to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, and they all have strengths and advantages. Forestry, it's cheap, it's very scalable and available right now. It's not very permanent though. Direct air capture, it's very expensive right now, and there's not a lot of it out there, but it's very, very permanent. It has low co-benefits. And then there's stuff in between, like biochar, which is having a bit of a sort of Goldilocks moment right now. It's a lot more permanent than forestry and a lot cheaper than direct air capture. Companies need to combine all these different methods in order to achieve their goals. But how does that actually work in practice? It might seem like it's fairly simple. You make a contract between a buyer and a supplier, but there are a lot of more sort of intermediaries in that space. So you have the registries, you have the MRV provider, and you have, of course, the project. As a buyer, you need to do project selection and due diligence on each individual project. When you need to use the credits, you retire them in the registry, and you need to collect data from all these different parties in different parts of this ecosystem so you can do your CSRD reporting. Now, when you add more projects, that gets really, really complicated, and it just becomes a huge workload for small sustainability teams. At Klimate, we solve that by bundling everything in together in one platform. So we're not trying to do all of these things ourselves. We're not trying to be the registry. We're not trying to be an MRV provider. We don't do carbon accounting. Instead, we work together with companies like Morescope that you just heard from, and that's how we also get a lot of our clients. We do the sourcing, we do the most thorough due diligence on projects of anyone out there. We do contracts multiple years and multiple different assets in one. And then we can retire credits on behalf of the client through APIs. And finally, we can collect all of this data into reporting. We are scaling really fast. We more than doubled last year. And we are sort of like lean and mean team. We're only 22 people, and we're covering over half of our expenses with our own revenue. Very strong traction, also outside of our home market in Denmark. We only have 9% of our revenue at home. And we are open to start conversations for our Series A, which we hope to close in this year. Thank you. Questions?
Floor is open for questions.
We're really all tired and ready to go home. I have a flight in exactly 2 hours, so I'm open to leave without any questions as well. All right, thanks.
All right. Mads, we still want to celebrate you.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So you are the winner of the Carbon Tech Track. So we do want to present you with something and just say thank you and great job for everything that you're doing and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And picture here.
Picture. All right. Yeah, I don't have time to stick around to see if I win, so call me if I do. Bye.
And last but not least, put your hands together for decarbonization of ex-winner Fridolin Franke, co-founder and CGO at Solar Materials.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Fridolin Franke. I'm co-founder and managing director of Solar Materials, and our mission is to transform the solar industry into a circular economy. Solar panel waste is the fastest growing electronic waste stream globally, and while we now are in the phase of ramping up these volumes, we face several problems. So one of them is that there's no sufficient technology right now to really recover all materials from that, and this leads to higher recycling costs, and this then leads also to solar panels landing up in Africa or in the Middle East instead of sufficient recycling. The second point, which is leading to that, is that there's simply just not enough recycling infrastructure or capacity to really deal with the volumes that will come in the next years. Current recycling processes, which are mostly shredding and sorting, recover the glass, the aluminium, and the copper of the solar panels, but the functional materials of the solar cells, so the silicon and the silver, cannot be recovered with that. And with that, 50% of the raw material value is lost. To put this into comparison, right now 20% of the overall global silver production goes into the solar industry, and all of that value, so billions worth of materials, is lost due to the lack of the right technology. We focus on exactly that topic, and with our technology we're able to recover all materials from the solar panels. So this leads to a higher raw material yield on the output side, so that also means for us that we can offer the recycling cheaper to our customers. Right now we offer it a bit below market prices, but we would be also able to offer profitable recycling with offering the recycling for free. With that approach, we were able to secure over 6,000 tons of solar panels last year already, so that's like 600 truckloads. And with that volume, our capacity is already filled out until Q2 next year, so like 1 year from now. All of these solar panels contain roughly 4 to 5 million euros in revenue, which just wait for us to realize them. On the technical perspective or side, we are now in the latest stage of ramping or commissioning our industrial recycling line, and we already recycle like 1 truckload per day, and this will be further ramped up. The missing piece for that was also the outstanding permit, which we actually received yesterday after 9 months of dealing with the authorities, so we're really happy about that. Yeah, our team, one of the biggest strengths that we have is our fast execution speed. So we founded the company 3.5 years ago. We started with the lab size, and now, yeah, like 2 weeks away from the grand opening of our industrial recycling line. We plan to, or we are currently in the fundraising process of our Series B round to 5x our recycling capacity and become Europe's market leader by end of next year. Thank you.
Floor is open for questions.
Some questions now, or still everyone's tired?
Final question then. Thanks for the presentation. How will the money of the round help you scale in Europe or even beyond?
How would what help us?
The money that you try to raise now in the round.
Yeah, so with that we will increase our recycling capacity. So we will build 2 additional recycling lines in Germany, so triple the capacity there. And then we will also build the first Italian recycling plant for solar panels. And by that, yeah, we can then process 1.7 million solar panels per year. Yeah, and this basically makes us the largest solar panel recycler then in Europe.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks.
The very last one then. So, competition. Is there competition? I find it hard to believe there wouldn't be any. And
surprisingly, there's not so much competition. So right now, the real or the biggest competitor is a glass recycling company from Germany. They do shredding and sorting. So yeah, they recover also some of the materials, but they have a lower raw material yield. So this means they have to charge a recycling fee, which is roughly around 100 euros per ton. And we can always offer it cheaper than them, or we could offer it for free, and by that we can secure all of the volume that we need for our growth.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, jury, for your questions. Guys, these have been all the pitches, and now it's time for our judges to decide who's going to be crowned the ultimate winner. It's not going to be easy to pick the best of the best. So guys, our judges will need 5 minutes to cast their votes. So we'll take a short break, but stay tuned and come back to find out who is the ultimate winner of Energy Tech Challengers 2025. 5 minutes. Welcome back to the superfinals of the Energy Tech Challengers 2025. The judges have made their decision, and we're about to find out who's going to be the ultimate winner of the competition. But before the big reveal, we would first like to crown the top 7 finalists of Energy Tech Challengers 2025. So now I invite Patricia Sfefieras, principal at Contrarian Ventures, to award the winners. So please put your hands together for the winner in the green infrastructure track, Podero, Chris Bernkopf. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Next, give it up for the winner in green molecules track, OXCCU, Andrew Symes. Now give it up for the winner of the scaling computing track, VEIR, Mark Duitemeijer. Congratulations. Congratulations to the winner of AI applications track, Eneryield, Ebrahim Balouji. Another round of applause for the winner of Climate Finance and Track Risk, Morescope, Sophie Bruusgaard Jewett. And last but not least, let's give a round of applause for the winner in decarbonization, solar materials, Fridolin Franke, co-founder and CGO. Congratulations to all top 7 winners of Energy Tech Challengers 2025. And now it's time to reveal who the winner is. It's been a challenge for our judges to pick the best of the best, but the decision has been made. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the ultimate winner, Scaling Computing Track VEIR, Mart Duitemeijer. Congratulations. Thank you guys so much. You guys did a great job. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us at Energy Tech Summit 2025. Before we head out, I want to take a moment to thank our incredible speakers, thought leaders, and to each and every one of you who contributed to making this event a huge success. We also hope to meet you at our upcoming events lined up for 2026. Mark your calendars because Energy Tech Summit is coming back to Bilbao on April 15th and 16th, 2026. Next up, we're introducing a brand new event, Compute Summit, focused on next-gen tech computing happening in Barcelona on March 17th and 18th. And just when you thought we couldn't get any further, we're going global. So say hello to Energy Tech Summit Asia, debuting in Kuala Lumpur on September 29th to the 30th, 2026. I hope these 2 days have brought you valuable connections and fresh ideas that will help you take your energy tech business to new heights. Have a safe trip home, and I look forward to reconnecting at the next Energy Tech Summit. Until then, stay inspired, stay innovative, and let's continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in climate tech. Thank you all so much. A round of applause for everybody. Thank you.